Hi everybody, welcome, good evening, and welcome to the joy of cooking with Michelle. And this is my kitchen. And this right here is my rice cooker. Today we are cooking quinoa patties. And a big shout out thank you to my friend Christine who sent me this recipe. In order to make this recipe, I had to cook some quinoa, and I cooked it in that little mini rice cooker right there. And quinoa is fantastic because not only is it a whole grain, it also is a high quality protein. And in the old days, we used to say a complete protein. It's the only grain that has so many essential amino acids all together in it that it is a high quality protein also, just like tofu. So in these quinoa patties are some very simple ingredients. So we have 1 cup of cooked quinoa. We have a half a cup of grated zucchini and a 1/4 cup of each Parmesan cheese and breadcrumbs, a 1/4 each. Now, I used panko breadcrumbs because I want these to be super crispy. And we have 1 egg that's beaten and about a 1/4 teaspoon each of paprika and salt and pepper, and also 2 garlic cloves that have been minced. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mix it all together, and we're going to make patties out of it, and we're going to cook it on top of the stove for about 4 or 5 minutes each side. And you can make the patties whatever size suits you. So let's put this all together. I was thinking that what we should do first of all is, I'm hoping you can see this, is what I'd like to do is mix the wet ingredients all together, the quinoa and the zucchini. Mix that together with the garlic for sure. We want to mix that really, really well. So I would say mix those wet ingredients together nicely. I also would put your herbs and spices in there. Now, if you really wanted to, I was thinking chopped up green onion might be very nice in this also. I'm a big fan of the green onion because it just tastes so fresh, like the garden. And also, I'm thinking from here, what we should do is just beat our egg up. The egg is important because it really helps to bind all this together. So there we go. So I'm going to mix the egg into the wet ingredients. It's nice and moist. It's not really, really wet. The zucchini is going to be a delicious addition to this too. Nice. Very nice. Now I want to show you the quinoa that I used is tricolor. So what that means is that it's not just one color. It's red, white, and black all together, which makes a fantastic color when it's cooked. And quinoa actually doubles in size as it cooks. So if you start it with half a cup dry, then you add double the water, and then it doubles in volume. So if you start it with half a cup of quinoa, you end up with 1 cup after it's cooked. I'm thinking also that I'm going to mix the dry ingredients together just for uniformity. So I took the Parmesan cheese and mixed it with the breadcrumbs. You can use any breadcrumbs you like. Sometimes you can get breadcrumbs at the dollar store. It's amazing sometimes what you can get at the dollar store. And then, oh, the other thing is I added the spices into the wet mixture, but the other thing you could do is you could add the spices into the dry mixtures too. Or you could just sprinkle the seasoning on top and mix it in. But I like to put all of the ingredients together, the dry ingredients, and that way I know that it's more thoroughly mixed. And then I'm going to sprinkle that on top. Going to mix it in. I'm going to put my frying pan here on top, on the stove top, just heat it up a little bit. It's nice when the frying pan's a little bit warm when you get started. Oh, perfect. Okay, so it's not too moist and it's not too dry, and the beaten eggs are going to do a good job of holding it together. I love this idea. I think for children, I think children would like these really small. And then what we're going to do is we are going to cook it in a non-stick frying pan, like I said, for 4 or 5 minutes on each side. I think the kids would really like it if they were like nugget size. And adults might like them to be big enough that maybe you could use it as a patty and put it on a small hamburger bun with all the fixings, like the avocado and the lettuce and the tomato. That might be very interesting too. So you can make these patties into whatever size you like. So I'm going to bring my non-stick frying pan over here. I think you could probably see that. See? And you can use olive oil. But a friend of mine also introduced me to this spray avocado oil, and I love it because it's got a smoke point that's better than olive oil, and I don't need an awful lot to begin with. So I'm going to put this whole recipe online so you can see it. I have this beautiful rounded spoon that I actually love for things like this. I'm going to make some little patties. I think they're going to hold together really nicely if they're small. So you see, it fits in the palm of my hand. I'm going to make quite a few of these like this, maybe 6 or so, and put them in the pan. How easy is this? And then what I'm going to do is uncook them, and then in about 10 or 15 minutes, when they're finished, I can get some dipping sauce, if I have some in the fridge. Anything, you can use some hot spicy sauce, you can use hot and sour sauce, you could use ranch dressing to dip them on. You could put the sauce on top, or you can just eat them plain like this. These would be really nice, these cooked patties. You could serve it with a nice garden salad. Oh, I like this. Okay, I'm just going to start with maybe 4 or 5 in the pan. They look really pretty, really nice and colorful. You can see how colorful they are. And they do hold together very nicely. Yeah, I like this. This is probably about 1/3 of a cup I'm using for each one. But like I said, make them the size that you would like. Now, of course, I'm going to put this recipe up for you, and I'm going to take a picture when it's done, because I'm not going to make you stand around here for the next 10 minutes while I finish doing this. There we go. So I'd say cook it on medium heat. You want to cook all the way through. I'll just put that right there for now. And yeah, I hope you like this recipe. Quinoa is super, super cool, like I said. And I think we should eat quinoa more often. I love to mix my grains, so sometimes if I'm cooking, say, really nice long and wild rice, sometimes I'll put a little bit of quinoa in there. And hot tip, I did have some leftover quinoa that I didn't need for this whole recipe. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to save it for tomorrow morning. Of course, I'm going to put it in the fridge and save it for tomorrow morning. And I'm going to use it in my oatmeal. So when I'm making my hot oatmeal in the morning, again in my rice cooker, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the leftover cooked quinoa that I have. The other thing is you could also put your leftover quinoa in some overnight oats if you are making that. So there's another hot tip for you. I love mixing my grains. And I love it when you join me. So thank you so much. And I will see you again next week. Bye now.